Twilight Princess is my favorite video game of all time. Following the reception of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Nintendo of America blamed low sales on the cel-shaded art direction of the game, which made it look more childish. They claimed that the bright animation masked more mature themes featured in the project and was responsible for turning people off from the game. With teams from many different Zelda games coming together under director Eiji Aonuma and general producer Shigeru Miyamoto, perhaps you've heard of him, a Zelda project aimed in a new direction was announced in 2004 and would be released in 2006. Aonuma, who had originally planned for a Wind Waker sequel, instead pitched the more realistic Zelda game to Miyamoto, who got on board due to the idea of making the horseback riding mechanics more realistic. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is cited as a major inspiration for the game. While the original Zelda games were inspired by the novels, Twilight Princess was in production immediately following the release of Peter Jackson's film trilogy. These movies and their reception influenced the look and feel of the game as well as its scale. The team wanted to make a game with a world that felt massive and epic in a way that Lord of the Rings had proved possible. Aonuma wanted to switch up the gameplay in this game as well as the art style, and decided to make a game where Link turns into an animal again like he did in Link to the Past. The character Midna was initially created to ride on Wolf Link's back in order to make his movement less boring. While working on the biggest Zelda game to date, Aonuma's direction and Miyamoto's knowledge and experience were vital in utilizing their massive team in an effective way. Twilight Princess was released on both the GameCube and the Wii. It was the first Zelda game released at the same time worldwide, and was welcomed by a great reception. It remains one of the highest rated games ever made. This game came out when I was 5 years old, and I would have missed it entirely if it weren't for my older sister playing it on the GameCube. As it turned out, I got to play the game in the prime of my youth, when I had all the time in the world and was free to get lost in the world of Hyrule. So yeah, I definitely have a nostalgia bias regarding this game. Still, I believe that its strengths outshine any other entry in the franchise. I've always found it to be shockingly underappreciated across the fandom, although lately I do feel like I have seen some more support for it online. Maybe that's because it's getting older, since we always appreciate things more in retrospect. It's like how Ocarina of Time will always be the prime of Zelda, even though it was really only the beginning. Not that it isn't one of the greatest games ever made, but that's beside the point. I'll do a quick narrative synopsis of the game for those who haven't played it, and as a refresher for those who have. Basically, Link is disrupted from a peaceful life in Ordon Village, where he spends his days farming and teaching the local kids how to use slingshots and wooden swords, when he discovers bokoblins near the village. Soon after, he is attacked, and Epona and his childhood friend Ilia and one of the village children are taken. Link himself is dragged into the Twilight Realm, where he wakes up as a wolf in a dungeon. With the help of Midna the Imp, he is able to escape. His mission to save his friends, defeat the evil forces across Hyrule, and return the light to the realm, as well as to help Midna save her realm and return to her natural form, make up the bulk of the game. The dark vibe of the game is set by the realistic art style and gritty atmosphere and the mature storyline that set it apart from Wind Waker. In this story, Ganondorf is banished into the Twilight Realm in a crazy cutscene, and once he's banished, through some sort of spiritual manifestation kind of thing, Eren Yeager style convinces Zant to overthrow the royalty of the Twilight Realm and take control as the Shadow King. He then turns his focus to Hyrule, where his goal is to merge the Light and the Twilight Realms into one dark world under his rule. Zant, who sees Ganondorf as a god, betrays the Twilight Realm King and takes over as Shadow King, turning his own people into monsters. He and Ganondorf share sort of a force connection thing, where both of them can't die unless they're both killed. Zant has this calm demeanor, and one of the sickest designs, by the way. His costume and his mask are so cool and menacing, but he always acts so calm and cold. And then, later on in the game, you realize he's legitimately insane, and it's such a terrifying and memorable reveal. The music in this game is my favorite of any Zelda game, and that says a lot because I think Zelda has the best music of any video game franchise. Songs like the Sacred Grove, Midna's Lament, the Hyrule Field theme from this game, and the opening theme are among my favorites. I also think that the dungeon design in Twilight Princess is the best of all the Zelda games. In the pre-Breath of the Wild era at least, the dungeons in Zelda were a major staple of the gameplay and how the game progressed. So it's important that they be fun and interesting and entertaining. And I think that Twilight Princess captures the different atmospheres of each temple, the intricate layer design, the reward of unlocking the new weapons which you can use in the overworld. Even the boss fights are especially memorable. And one of the biggest pats on the back I can give them is that they even made a fun water temple, which if you had played every game of Zelda other than Twilight Princess, you may not think that was possible. The Twilight Princess overworld is one of the most important parts of what makes the game so special to me, is that they were looking for that big, epic world to explore based on the Lord of the Rings reception, and they captured it. But when you look at it in retrospect with the Breath of the Wild world and Tears of the Kingdom world, they're so much bigger than the Twilight Princess world. But like, at the time, the Twilight Princess world was massive, and still at this point, I think that the secret of what makes me like it so much is that it's huge enough that it feels like it's massive and you can always continue to explore it, but it's also small enough that it feels like home to me. Like, I know it like the back of my hand. When you unlock these new weapons from the dungeon, like the staff, for example, I can immediately be like, oh, I can go use this here on this statue, you know? And it's like, it gets me excited to go explore the overworld more and more every time I progress. And it's just become such a comfort place for me as well. I mean, I'll boot up the game and there's a couple places where I'll just sit down and hang out to relax. Yeah, I think they really captured the perfect size of the overworld. It wouldn't have worked as well, like I said, if you couldn't progressively find new things, like blow up a rock and find a cave you've never seen, or you can explore more when you get the hook shot, you can explore more when you get the double hook shot, you can explore more when you get each kind of bomb, you can explore more when you get the spinner, you can explore more, you know, it's just, there's constant progression. And the weapons that you unlock in the dungeons of this game are also super fun. I mean, the spinner is awesome, the double hook shot, the Gale Boomerang I think is one of the coolest Zelda weapons ever. And there's a lot of minor details as well. It's stuff like, in Castle Town, you can play fetch with a dog, and you can pick him up. And it's like, the amount of time I spent on that game just in that one alley in Castle Town playing fetch with a dog is, you know, very substantial. And there's things like that, and then there's at Lake Hylia, you can shoot yourself out of the rocket and go to the game where you fly with the chicken and try to collect rupees through the sky over Lake Hylia. There's a bunch of little things like mini games or just little details like being able to pick up the dog that go a really long way to me in making it a game that I want to come back to again and again. Moral of the story is, Twilight Princess is my favorite game of all time, and I also think that it's the best Zelda game of all time, as of right now. So, I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. And if you have, let me know what you think of it. Definitely drop a comment on how you feel about Twilight Princess, anything Zelda related, anything at all, really. You got freedom of speech. But yeah, if you're still here, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed my rambling to some extent. And yeah, don't forget what Goku says. Have a great one.